What I love about Luftgekühlt in general is that we drop into these different environments, and you know, you got to take what you have here, and your paintbrushes are like a couple hundred Porsches. You drop those paintbrushes into the environment and build art, you know, and that's what I've been doing. You know, this is the 11th event, but it's just fun because it's a culmination of everything that I've worked on in my life in filmmaking and photography and marketing side, putting it all into one focus to put on events like this.
This year's event is an incredible culmination of about 6-7 years of work. The first time I showed up here, I totally got it, and I was very, very sure this would be a great spot for us, a first spot on the East Coast. It's a long time coming, and I think this will be a different Luft than we've ever done before, mainly because of Durham as a city. I think we're going to take over the entire town with Porsche enthusiasm, and that has me excited.
You look at our team and you look at the daunting fact that almost 400 cars in 48 hours are gonna land on the ground here. People are gonna come in and experience it. And on Saturday evening, place is cleaned up. It's empty, and we want to be left with amazing photos, amazing experiences, and amazing stories. When we come to a venue like this, you know, naturally the venue is fresh, it's new, we've never been here before. Also, we always want to bring in other cars that we haven't seen. What's fun about this year is this is the East Coast. It's the first time we've genuinely been on the East Coast for an event, and it opens us up to new cars.
There's so many racing stories within the Porsche DNA and history that maybe don't get as much coverage as the SoCal side of things and the Hollywood side of Porsche. So Alex Job Racing, it's a team that I drove for back in 2005, 2006. Amazing story of a self-made guy that was a racer and ended up building a team that was a quasi-factory team for Porsche for many years.
I mean, obviously we're in a campus here that was developed to produce tobacco, cigarettes and things. So it's kind of fun to think about that time and everything. But also, you know, it's an anniversary for 993. There's always something to focus on, but a lot of times we let the people who enter kind of create those focuses. You know, if we start getting an abundance of a certain car or a certain thing here, then suddenly we have a new theme.
There are so many cars that we hunt for that tell fresh ideas and stories. And it's not just about how rare they are or how valuable they are or how successful they are. Motorsport is part of my life. It's a majority part of my life. So cars like the 966 from Gunner Racing, it's a one-of-one wild prototype from the 90s in IMSA, a very, very sort of Wild West time when you could build and modify and show up to Daytona with something that no one ever knew. Obviously a 911R from 1967 is, in my opinion, the Halo 911. We've got a great example of that car here.
There's always something special about the aluminum cars, the way they sit and accept the light. And I love that they can kind of be little jewels amongst the rest of the cars. So naturally, the aluminum cars like 550 Spider, RSK, a 550 Coupe, the very first 550 from the Revs Institute, you know, these are kind of magical cars to be around. And then to see them in an environment like this, and also combined with the whole story of Porsche around it, it's special.
Whether it was a random one-off built in a home garage or it was Porsche's Halo, a Le Mans winning car, we like to tell all those individual stories. And you park next to legends and icons and you might just be a rusted out 912. It starts with venues. Every single time we go to a new market or a new venue, it's like pushing the reset button. From disaster relief plans and city planning to where you're gonna place, you know, different activations, entry points, perimeters. You have to relearn your science every single time you go to a new venue, especially when we get approaching 10,000 people and 1,000 cars. I mean, it's no small feat to do what we do in places that aren't built to host events of any magnitude, let alone car events. So it starts there, but it it journeys on into the cars that we find and the people that we invite. We don't want to tell the same stories over and over again. One of the first things I thought when we produced a Luftgekühlt was, I never want to be one of those car shows that says, you know what, I'm not going to go this year, I'll just go next year, because it's going to be the same place, the same time, and the same content. So with Luft, we continue to push ourselves, and I think we've inspired a lot of very like-minded events, and all that does is just motivate the team to push harder and to drive the knife in a little deeper and twist it a little further. And that's what gets me up every morning, just rearing.
For me, you know, I fly to these venues and we come here, Pat and I come, and some of our crew comes, and we look at the viability of using a venue like this. But I naturally am gravitating towards the great visuals. And when I came into this place, there was this boiler room, you know, and the power station that just seemed like it was so mechanical and so textural that it was like a perfect place to put a car. And I just really love the look and feel of that. So now, today, you know, you swing open the doors and you roll this 550 Spider in there, and you put it against that backdrop, you go, this is what I was looking forward to.
You have the next generation, and we all think about where our influence in our car enthusiasm came from, who dragged us to a race or to a car show, who gave us our first drive on a backcountry road. So the next generation and how they consume car media is so important to me and to the Luftgekühlt group, and making photographical moments that live on for years. I mean, we're in year 11 and I still see Luft 1 2014 photos that aren't even credited to Luftgekühlt. They're just amazing photos.
The fun thing is the reveals. You know, I don't have this philosophy that I want you to walk in and say, oh, I can see everything. I want you to kind of have to work for things. And I love it when people come back and go, I went around the corner and I saw this car just sitting there by itself and it was super cool. You know, those are the moments I like. I like that this event's a discoverable. It is something that you walk through, things open up in front of you, and hopefully it makes you feel like a good photographer at the same time.
I think people who aren't into the Porsche history still are captivated by the experience. I like to call Luft a happening. It's a place to go on the weekends, dogs, families, art, great food, music. The essence of Luft is a community. We started with an idea of walking people around and letting them understand what air-cooled means in the Porsche world. And I quickly realized that there was a whole sort of global group of people who were looking for this common laid-back vibe of a show that wasn't in a parking lot or a golf course, and had some architecture and some backdrop to make these photographical moments.
The challenge is always the balance, you know. I want space and a feeling that, you know, you're kind of dropping into something that's curated. And that's always the challenge because there's so many great cars and we just can't take every single car. But in this case, we get to be here and use this backdrop. It's pretty special.